and a very warm welcome to the form of what is the final day of New Zealand Cup Week, and isn't it delivering 12 races plus the New Zealand Cup and of course the 1,000 Guineas as well. All of that to come. We'll be previewing it right here on the form. For now, let's have a little look at our agenda. We start the show with Bevan Sweeney and Aidan Rodley, our form analysts who've been covering the Riccarton carnivals, and they give us a good insight into the Group 1 1,000 Guineas and also the New Zealand Cup, as well as their betting strategies. On the back of that, we talk to champion trainer Jamie Richards, who has a big team of both Riccarton and Tauranga, including 5 chances in the Group 1. And then to wrap things up, Opie Bosson links in just the 3 rides on Saturday, but he gives us an insight into the other Te Akau contenders in the Group 1 1,000 Guineas, as well as his mount in the Perfect King.
Well, our first guests here on the form are Bevan Sweeney and Aidan Rodley. Awesome to have you both with us. It's been a massive week for you covering what is New Zealand Cup Week. We had Wednesday's wonderful meeting featuring, of course, the Copeland's Mile as the feature. Bevan, you were there on track. What was your takeaway from the day? What was your review of Copeland's Mile Day?
Well, I think my take out of it is how good David Ellis is at identifying talent. He's got another very, very talented young man down in the South Island with Sam Burgesson running the team down there, and he's done a wonderful job with the horses down there under the tutorship of Jamie, clearly. But, geez, they've been presented beautifully. You throw in Opie Bosson now allowed to come out of the north and ride around the district, and yeah, they combine beautifully. The 3 of them, Jamie, Opie and Sam, are making a pretty formidable team down here in the south, and yeah, they were brilliant on Wednesday and everything they did.
Aidan, what about for you? What was your highlight from Wednesday's meeting?
Well, obviously, there are a couple of horses who took out those 2 Group 3s that of Jamie's. You wonder whether they're really top class or not, but that's testament to the quality of the young man. He's going into Saturday's racing on 49 Group wins with the chance of racking up 50. And obviously the other one, the Breeders' Stakes, was just a crazy race that seemed to be in Providence Provide's back pocket. Then clipped the running rail and it went to pieces there. Good to see Carolina winning that race as well for Kevin Hickman, who sponsored the race. Massive run from Beneficial into second as well. But yeah, Marcus Aurelius and Summer Monsoon were terrific performances. Obviously, very good rides from Opie, just getting the horses into the right spot and the quality of their preparations, just getting them across the line. So it does set up for a really good day. Obviously, that's a Te Akau dominant so far with Novia in the first one, then a couple of Group 3s on the middle day. So 5 runners in the Group 1 makes for another formidable hand for Jamie Richards too.
Yeah, it sure does. Such a strong hand in the race. I know we've spoken about it before, almost Karaka Million-esque, isn't it, with what they're providing when it comes to the 1,000 Guineas. Let's start with a little look at this race. Bevan, we'll come to you first for that Group 1 1,000 Guineas. I know you're pretty keen on the chances of There You Go.
Yeah, I am, Emily, and it's probably draw-driven. There You Go, having that little bit of speed out of the gates. I know that Imperatrice can get out of the gates, but it'll be a very difficult task. And if the riders allow Danielle to slide in from that gate forward, then they're not really doing their job. So hard to see who getting a spot forward, but she did get back at Matter and just power over the top of them. So I don't think it's out of the question, but all things being equal, I think There You Go goes forward from there. You've got a couple of Shib's Delight, Global Beauty probably going forward as well. And I think There You Go can get a nice spot outside in a forward position and should be very difficult to beat on what we've seen in the 2 runs in the South Island. So I think just on the way the mat works for me, I think There You Go's had enough quality to be taking the race out. That said, Imperatrice, if they do go forward and find a slot, well, then she's really difficult to beat. She has been fantastic. That last start win was as good as you'll see really from the start of the race to what happened at the finish with their powerful finish under Danielle. So that's in for second for mine. Look, I think the perfect pink up to the 1,600 metres being by Savabeel and hitting the line strongly by Imperatrice has to be some chance to give Opie another Group 1 on the program. And I'm going to throw in the City Visitor, and we danced into 4th M. This is a very good horse. It might be way too soon or too soon for this horse with just the 1 start back in this preparation, but it does have really strong ability, and it wouldn't be a surprise if it could run and fall for me.
Aidan, what about for you? What are your selections when it comes to the 1,000 Guineas?
Just still honing them at the moment, Emily, but I've got a fair idea. It'll be one of the two Richards fillies, and maybe not the ones you're expecting. Between Ballon Rouge, who I thought was absolutely terrific in that soliloquy last time out. Yeah, it was a really strong run from Imperatrice coming from the back. And speaking to Jamie yesterday, they will go back with both Imperatrice and also the Perfect Pink. Whereas Ballon Rouge just has that better barrier draw, so maybe can slot in somewhere midfield. Really taken by what she was doing last time out. The Perfect Pink was excellent last time out in that same race. So I'm around that soliloquy form. I think it's those two. I thought Mustang Valley Run was pretty handy. And here's a horse who was just absolutely blasting through the line in the Gold Trail, and which is a key form race as well. Beat home Imperatrice that day, and that race was taken out by Belaconte, who seems to have continued to progress really nicely as well. You've got to have respect around Imperatrice. Barrier 16 from that gate on one who we're just not 100% going to see at a strong 1,600 metres. You've got to have it right in the mix as well. So I am around those four runners, although there you go, bringing that Barneswood form lines, and I've been strong on the southern form lines leading in right through the carnival, but certainly the soliloquy has been where the winner of the last 3 1,000 guineas have come through, so I'm going to stick with that as the key lead-up form into this.
Well, the other feature race on the card on Saturday comes in the form of the New Zealand Cup, where we get to see the stayers tested over the long distance. And let's have a little chat to you, Bevan, with regards to what you're thinking for this one. I know you're based down in the South Island for this week, and weather could play a part. How has the weather been, and is that going to affect your New Zealand Cup picks?
Yeah, well, the weather has been good. Overcast, not overly warm down in this part of the world, but the track has been pretty firm across the first 2 days, and It'll present firm tomorrow morning. However, the forecast is for rain to arrive around about 11 o'clock and get heavy sort of through 1 through 3 p.m. So that may put the kid amongst the pigeons when you're doing your selections. So it might pay just to hang off if you're having a fixed odds bet until you see exactly how that sort of does develop, because the forecast is certainly for some weather to roll on in after lunchtime. And the New Zealand Cup, it's a tough race. It really is a tough race, Emily. I'm going to end up going with the horse I thought ran the best cup trial on the 6th here down at Riccarton, and that was Monderani for Kevin Myers. If the track does get rain effect into that slow bracket, I don't think it will affect Monderani too much. If it gets further wetter than that, then we're probably taking this horse out of contention, especially from an inside gate with rain falling. But she had hit the line nicely at Riccarton. Has to carry the same weight down on the 54, down on the minimum from a good gate. If the track holds up, then I think it's a major player in the race. Bodeswell has been spruiked in my part of the wood for a long period of time as the winner of this race, and I know there's a lot of Terry and Nicky money involved there. It was a good effort, and behind Mr. Intelligence at Riccarton, clearly in the same race, and has to carry only the 54.5. Mr. Intelligence up to 59 makes it difficult. Outside of those couple of runners, I had a hatful that I could put in for placings. DNG may be disappointed at Riccarton in the lead-up race, but a bit of rain round wouldn't help DNG. They've been flying in its previous 2 performances. And look, Car Thief never got a crack at them on Wednesday. In behind Luminous. If it had, I think it would have been right in the mix over the 2,500 metres, and it's bred to get over staying trip. So I'm around those numbers, but Lincoln King was nice enough in the trial. Amora's Town's going well. There's a host of chances. What did you think, Aidan, here in the Cup?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I thought maybe the best trials out of that Metropolitan came from either Bodeswell or Monderani. They were both really good runs, but you have to respect what Mr. Intelligence was doing. Madame de Soir, say Lincoln King as well. And I'm not going to write off Southern Ocean. I know is a whole lot better than this. You know, the horse, the outside, there's 2 others. Hit the Road Jack, I think, it's given a really good preparation to this and looks a key contender. But the horse I'm going to give a blowout chance to, and they get this horse right for the big races all the time, is Bluey's Chance. He'll be a huge money like he was in the Wellington Cup when he ran second. But that's a decent form line, and his run in the Winter Cup was just amazing as well. So, geez, I'd love to see Bluey's Chance give this a real shake for the Southerners, and he'll be a decent money again. He always is. Yeah, I think he is an upset chance for sure.
What about when it comes to best bets? What are you all thinking with regards to your best? Bevan, will come to you first.
As far as the best bet goes, for me, Emily, I'll be on race number 11, a horse fresh to the meeting for Lisa Ladder. He's a doozy, very talented horse. It's a really good win, beating some really nice types at its most recent run. Any run around won't affect it. I really do like the price about it. Value runners, well, there's plenty of them. In the second Namibia Miss, unlucky day number 1 on the program, up to 2,000 metres. I think that's at a great price at double figures. In the 5th Fashion Shoot, right down the bottom of the book, I think she'll be really competitive, around about $5. It was a very good run on the first day. And Monderani, I think, in the Cup is offering you some value. If you want to blow out, it will be in the last, the lucky last, the 13 here, 2 for relaxed. Gee, it has some bad luck, this horse. If it gets any sort of luck, I think it's a winning chance at a big quote. What about you, Aidan?
Geez, you'll be spent by 12 races on the third day of a meeting. I can tell you that. I'm going to go early. I'm going to go with Fedikian, who was just absolutely so unlucky here on the first day. Was only finding clear room in the last 50, and that was when Sam Wynn illegally pushed out, and it cost her a bit of a suspension. But she was just tracking him behind him, looking for room, and never got any. So in the first of the program, I thought that Fedikian, with any amount of luck, could be the one. And outside that, as I said, for value, I'll probably be playing around Bluey's chance in the Cup. I just think that she's a proven stayer, gets the preparation, and can be a factor in this one over 3,200 metres. Emily.
Awesome stuff. Thanks, both of you, for your time, and looking forward to seeing that meeting on Saturday. And go well. I'm sure you'll deserve a good break after such a big week.
Good. Thank you.
Well, up next on the form is Jamie Richards, who's enjoying a wonderful carnival down there at Riccarton. Jamie, first of all, a very good morning, and also big congratulations on all the success during the past couple of days.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great. Started off well with Novare, and thankfully able to carry it through to Wednesday with Marcus Aurelius and Summer Monsoon and Zoo Luminous winning the last there by a very small margin. So when your luck's in, and hopefully it can carry on. The guys down there have done a fantastic job with the horses.
Let's have a little talk about your runners at both Riccarton and, of course, Tauranga as well. We'll start with Riccarton, and we'll just go in racebook order. Easy way to do it. Race number 1, Radagast, who's backing up from Saturday. What was the feedback from Opie post that?
Probably just wanted to overdo it a little bit, and then he sort of probably had to make his run a little bit earlier than he would have liked. And it is hard when you're exposed sort of 4 and 5 wide that early in the piece. He's a horse that is just okay. He needs everything in his favour to be winning, but we'll just ride him back, and he's probably a horse that might even be a little bit better ridden for luck. So he's in the consolidation race there, which is the first race. So hopefully he runs there, because that would be the easier of that race, and race the 65 1400, which is later in the day. But we just have to keep an eye on the scratchings, because if they get 2 scratchings, he'll have to run in race 9, which I think is the other race. So just keep an eye on that for punters.
And you also have a little bit of a gear change as well. Is that just with the fact that the horse was over racing?
Well, I just thought back and trip. Let's throw the kitchen sink at him and try and get him to win. I've got nothing left for him, so we're trying everything.
And in race number 5, if we move on to Fashion Shoot, a gear change with this horse as well. You get the blinkers on. Do you think that can make the difference?
Yeah, well, Fashion Shoot and Radagast have both had a visor blinker on, so it's only a very small adjustment in that they can't see the tiny little bit that they can see with the visors on. And the hope that both of those horses dropping back and trip, we can just get them up in the race a little bit better and get them to sort of travel into it. Fashion Shoot, she was good the first day, 1400, dropped her back to 1200 rather than stepping her out to a mile. She wanted to go a little bit keen in behind them, so we're just hoping that dropping back and trip to 1200, where they're going to go a genuine tempo, could hopefully set it up for her to get over top of them. She's been very good down the chute earlier in the campaign, fresh up. So we're hoping that Lightning can strike twice, but just something to take into consideration for the punters out there, that when we backed her up last time, she didn't run particularly well, but hard to falter it leading into this race. So you just have to take her on trust a little bit.
Another horse who has a quick turnaround is Summer Monsoon. Stewart's success on Wednesday and back at it already, and that must be a good indication for punters that he's come through the race really well.
Yeah, he's eaten well. He's an older gelding now that thrives on a bit of racing. He backed up well at the carnival last year to win on the last day. So yeah, with the claim, and he's there and he's happy and he's healthy, we sort of don't see any reason why he shouldn't be running after all. It's a $50,000 race. So we'll make a further call on him in the morning, but at this stage it's all systems go. He'll just go back a bit like he does, and he should get to the outside and finish off well. Sanu has ridden a couple of horses for us well down there throughout this sort of campaign for us, and I'm sure that he'll do another good job for us there tomorrow.
What is it about the Riccarton Carnival? Because he just seems to come into his own at this time of year, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I don't know whether it's the smaller environment or the perhaps the competition might be a little bit easier, but nothing can be. You can't take for granted winning, and when he gets winning, he usually holds his form. So he's a real confident sort of horse, and when he's ridden in the right manner, when he's sort of back and breathing and able to get in a rhythm, then he can really close off well and run some good sectionals, and that's what he's been able to do his last couple of starts.
If we move on to the 1,000 Guineas, you've got any number of starters. I was saying earlier on to Bevan and Aiden, it's Karaka Million-esque with the number of runners and chances you've got in the race. If we just look at them as a whole, how have the horses that have travelled, how have they gone down and how have they settled in?
Yeah, so the three fillies came down from up north. They flew down last Thursday. And all three of them have settled in really well. That's Imperatriz, Ballon Rouge, and the Perfect Pink coming out of Soliloquy. So they worked on the course proper on Tuesday morning, did a little bit more again yesterday, but they all seem to be in good shape. And the two fillies that have been down there and racing down there are in the environment and nice and settled and appear to be going well as well.
If we tackle the Soliloquy Stakes as the lead-up, which obviously featured Imperatriz, Ballon Rouge, and, of course, the Perfect Pink. Geez, Imperatriz was impressive, seeing out the 1,400 metres so strongly. That must have really given you a boost towards the Guineas.
Yeah, she sort of bombed the start of it and ended up back, and then had to, make a long sort of sustained run at them when she was able to get clear. It's a nice ride from Danielle. She sort of felt like she's running out of petrol a bit the last bit, but she was a while between runs, and it's not going to be any easier for her there tomorrow, particularly with a bad barrier draw. She's going to have to go back to try and get some cover. And as I've sort of said to a few people, Emily, it would be great if the number of horses that were in the 2,000 Guineas were in the 1,000 Guineas tomorrow, because Novia was sort of last in an 8 or 9 horse field and 6 lengths off them, whereas if she has to go right back, she could be 15 off them at the 600. So she's going to have to be at her best, but we think she's in good shape. And just a little bit concerned about the amount of rain they're supposed to get around lunchtime there tomorrow. So that's something that punters will have to keep an eye on as well. But she has shown that she can handle wet tracks before.
And then Ballon Rouge obviously is a horse who was very dominant in pushing Imperatriz right to the wire in that Soliloquy Stakes. Is she sort of coming in a little bit under the radar? How is she impressing you?
Yeah, she's in good shape. She's always been a nice filly. She was a little bit unlucky in the Soliloquy, where she just got sort of held up early in the run home with Sarah McNabb on her. But yeah, she's. I think you're right. She is floating under the radar a little bit. She's got the sort of midfield draw there, where hopefully she can posse up with a bit of cover without having to do too much. She's got good natural speed from the barrier, so she should be able to get up in the race, and got to be a good chance. If the rain arrives, she probably does prefer it a bit better. But it is a Group 1, and we'll need to be taking our chance.
And the Perfect Pink also comes through that Soliloquy Stakes. And you're talking about Imperatriz go back. The Perfect Pink also finds itself often in that back position, making up a stack of ground. Is that going to be the one chink in the armour when it comes to the Perfect Pink?
Yeah, I guess it does. Ballon Rouge has won on a slow track at Taupo, so she should be able to handle it if it doesn't get too bad. She was way out in the best part of the ground that day. But back to the Perfect Pink, yeah, she's a really progressive filly. I think earmarked her for this race a little while ago with a big Riccarton mile and a big long sweeping sort of straight should really suit her. But she's going to be a bit like Imperatrice. She's going to need luck. She's going to be a fair way off them, having to be ridden quietly from a bad barrier. So hopefully we can, be behind midfield with cover rather than be last. Got the right man on for the job, hopefully. So she'll get her chance at some stage in the race. And she's one that, if the rain does arrive, just hates the wet tracks. So we'll have to be very mindful of that.
And then you've got Shepherd's Delight, a maiden winner last time. How do you rate her chances?
She's going well. She ran some good figures there the other day. Time was sound. She got the nice draw. She's going to spend no petrol, and she does seem to be going well. There's probably horses coming down from up north that have got a slightly better form lines than the two southern girls that we've got in there. But look, she's ready to run a bold race and deserves her chance there.
And the Irish Red, as you said, in a similar position with the maiden win under the belt. What can you tell us about how she's progressing?
Yeah, to the eye, she was impressive at Riccarton, but I think she ran about a second and a half slower than Shepherd's Delight. The same day, same sort of conditions. But she's got the lovely draw. She's going to spend no petrol from there. Her work seems to have been very encouraging. Opie rode her down there last Saturday and rode her again in track work on Thursday morning. Was really pleased with how she's going. So she's going to be a decent chance at an each way, long price.
And then if you had to single out your best chance for the Guineas, I know it's putting you on the spot, but what would you say?
Well, I've sort of been saying that I thought the Perfect Pink would probably be our number one seed on a dry deck and up to the mile. But she's going to need luck. Imperatrice is going really well. If they get any rain, I don't think that would worry her at all. But again, going to need luck from a bad draw. So it's going to be a really difficult race to win. I've got a lot of respect around There You Go. I think she's going really well. She'll be able to go forward from a bad barrier and sort of races up on the speed. So yeah, wide open sort of race for me. Any number of chances could win.
If we go to leaderboard now, the 10th and final runner there at Riccarton, what have you made of his lead-up runs? What can you tell punters about him?
Well, you're going to have to take him on trust a little bit there tomorrow. His form line does not read at all well. For 3 duckheads in a row is not something that we look for in lead-up form, particularly into a big race. But to be fair, he hasn't had the best of luck. Last time at Riccarton, he's a lovely spot, and then he just never got any room from the 600 onwards, and was basically hard held until the furlong, and then lacked a bit of punch. So if he can get himself up in the race from a good gate and have a little bit of luck when he needs it, he could run a cheeky race. But to be fair, if I was punting him, I wouldn't be putting too much on him.
And then if we have a little look at Tauranga, you've also got a formidable team lining up there. We'll start with race 3, Phantom Witness. Started the campaign with a bang, and then what did you make up of that second up performance?
Yeah, he just got a long way out of his ground from a bad draw. He's quite a difficult horse to ride. He wants to get up and over racing, and then he can hang and be a bit stupid. But he's got a nice draw, smaller field, should be able to take up hopefully a handier position. And when he's right, he's a very good galloper, but he can be quite a difficult horse to follow. So you have to take him on trust a bit.
Race number 4, you've got the 3 chances in the Mighty Spa, Topade and Charmaine's Dream. The Mighty Spa gets the 4 kilo claim on board, and you wrapped up last prep with a win and a few placings. What can we expect fresh?
Yeah, he seems to have come back in good shape. He'll probably need the run a bit tomorrow. He's just going to, he's drawn the outside claim, go back, run home. Simple as that, but he might have to be, looking for him at 1400 next time.
And then Topade, lightly exposed type, just with the 2 starts, and the last of those was on the synthetic. What can we expect in a relatively fresh state for this one?
Yeah, she's just the same, really, drawn out, not too far away from home. We want to get a campaign underway. She'll go back and finish off, but similar sort of outcomes of the Mighty Spa. Be finding the line, but probably look for over 1400 next time.
Charmaine's Dream is your other one. Wasn't a jockey declared when I had a little look earlier, but a fresh 7th that Tiara Haran trialled since. How has it come on from that run?
Yeah, she's in good shape. She's again, quite a difficult sort of mare. We've tried to ride her back a couple of times, and all she wants to do is over race and reef and tear. So if she jumps well, we might look to go forward a bit from out there with her. She has won being ridden that way at Tauranga before. And Joe Cameroon's going to ride her. He just had a bit of a toss on Tuesday, and we've just been a little bit slow to get everything finalised with a medical certificate so that he can ride. So for any of those punters thinking that the horses aren't running because they haven't got a rider down, Joe's on most of those, and the plan is to run as many of those as we can.
Oh, good. That's a good insight there. And Brando obviously stepping out as well in the open handicap over 1,400 metres. Came back with such a bang with that victory fresh, and then disappointing in the red badge sprint. Was there anything you could find post-race that maybe sort of added up to why he didn't run up to standard?
Yeah, can't fault the horse. We're just going with a bit of a second up sort of theory there. Ran really well out of his skin first up, 2 weeks, turned him around and travelled him to Hastings and was disappointing. So we've just given him a little bit of time. He trialled well here the other day, which we don't mind doing, when we're spacing out our races a little bit. Work's been solid. It was going to set up really well for him. There was a couple of horses that were rated higher than him that were going to look after his weight, but they came out when acceptances were called for. So he's ended up with 62 kilos. Joe's going to ride him and take a couple off. Drawn a bit of an awkward gate, but he is the class horse of the field. So need a little bit of luck in running. Hopefully they don't get too much rain. They are forecast a little bit, but he's going well and should be a nice chance. He's on the way to the Captain Cook, so he needs to front up there tomorrow.
And then finally in the feature, obviously, you've got Mai Tai, that's the Group 2 Tauranga Stakes, and just got to love what this mare's doing. She just loves winning, doesn't she? And great to see her back in winning form last time, Jamie.
Yeah, she's a good, tough, genuine sort of mare. Toughed it out last time, sort of needed the length of the straight to pick them up. Lovely ride by Danielle that day. So she's going well. I think the step up to the mile's no problem for her. Sort of first crack at weight for age is always a bit of a question mark. But she's got the nice draw. Hopefully she can get a soft running behind the speed. And off the way that she's been working, she's got to be a chance. We sort of we're hopefully on the way to the Captain Cook, and this is another prep run for her.
Jamie, I don't like to put you on the spot, but across Tauranga and Riccarton, do you have a best or what you think is a best? I know it's difficult with the weather and other factors playing into it.
If they don't, why don't we say if they don't get any rain at Riccarton, I think the Perfect Pink can run a really good race at a decent price. Nice each way play for punters out there. If they get a bit of rain, then I think Imperatrice comes right into it. She's still riding it without rain, but the Perfect Pink's probably more out of it if it does rain. So hopefully we can be a bit greedy there through Cup Week and get that last big one as well. That's the plan.
I love the confidence. No, awesome stuff, and thanks for your time this morning. And best of luck with Saturday at both meetings.
He ranged up with Clyde Drama the outside, and Summer Monsoon, he's tooling and strong on the stewards. Having a day out. It's Tiako again. Marcus Aurelius won the Copelands.
Well, now on the form we welcome in Opie Bosson, and Opie, a very good morning to you and a big congratulations. Obviously it's been a massive week for you so far and looking for that to continue on Saturday.
Yeah, it's been an amazing week and lucky enough to ride some very classy horses.
On Saturday, you've got some other key chances, especially in the Group 1. We'll go through them in race recorder. We'll start with race number 1 in Radagast. What did you take away from the run last weekend at Riccarton?
It wasn't a bad run. We had to make it quite a long run with a fair bit of weight. And he probably was a bit found wanting the last little bit, but we got another bit of an awkward draw again, so we just have to hope for a bit of luck with him.
And what about dropping back in distance? Do you think that's a plus?
Yes, I think so. He wanted to over race a little bit last start, and so dropping back, they'll probably run a little bit quicker and should be ideal for him.
Also noticed that Jamie's changed the gear. He's gone visor blinkers off, blinkers on. Does that make a heck of a lot of difference from your perspective?
Sometimes it does, and especially with them dropping back in distance, it might make them just a little bit more sharper.
And then up next is Swiss Watch, who is for the Colin Murray and Sean Ritchie team. You've enjoyed quite a bit of success for them, haven't you? And I'm sure that'll be looking to continue on Saturday.
Yeah, he seems quite a consistent horse, and he races close to the speed, so he should be in there for a long time.
He always seems to lead straight out of the barriers, and you've got a wide draw, so will that help you get across early, hopefully, if he jumps well?
If he jumps well, he's got that tactical speed, so I can't see him getting back off them too far, so ideally we'll be right up on the speed.
And in a fresh state, obviously, he finished fourth and behind Mai Tai, and you know Mai Tai pretty well, so that might be quite a good form line.
Yeah, for sure. She's a very good horse, and he's raced against some top horses as well. So, and he hasn't been far off them.
You have to meet your sparring partner in Summer Monsoon from Wednesday with the claimer on. Is that put a bit of fear into you? Obviously, you know what Summer Monsoon's capable of.
Yeah, and he loves it down the South Island too. So whenever he comes down here, he always runs a bold race. So especially with the 2 kilos off him. I think 2 or 3 kilos off his back would be ideal for him.
In the Group 1, you've got the Perfect Pink. I know you've identified this horse pretty early as being one to follow heading towards the 1,000 guineas. What do you think makes her a really good 1,000 guineas chance? She's just a real progressing type, and getting up to the 1,600 metres on a big track like Riccarton, we thought it was going to be an ideal race for her. I gave her a sprint up yesterday morning at the track, and she felt great, and hopefully all going well. We've got a bit of an awkward draw like I've had all week, but hopefully get a nice run, bit of cover, and I'm sure she'll be finishing home strong. The awkward draw, I guess, maybe means that you're going to have to go back, and that just seems to be the one thing that's holding her back, doesn't it? The way she's slow out of the barriers. Can you combat that in any way? Will you be looking to have her a little bit handier than we've seen?
Oh, I wouldn't think so. She hasn't got a lot of natural speed early, but she'd probably get. Ideally, it'd be nice if I could get midfield and get a bit of cover, but we just have to wait and see how we jump away, I think. What did you take away from the Soliloquy Stakes? Obviously, you weren't able to ride her, but you no doubt watched the race a number of times. What did you make of that run? I thought it was the run of the race. She got a few way back off them and got held up in a bit of a crucial stage, but that last 100 metres, she was really fine in line strong. I spoke to Jamie a little bit earlier today, and his one concern was the track and the forecast rain. What's the weather forecast like there at the moment, and what's your opinion on how she'll handle perhaps an off track if it rains on the day? The weather at the moment is beautiful. It's like 23 degrees and the sun's out. But if we do get her off track, she doesn't really like it whatsoever. So we'd have to be praying for not too much rain. When it does rain on the day, what does that sort of result in? That's different from it raining in the lead up, isn't it? Yeah, rain on the day, it's probably just chop it up a little bit. So the track has been pretty firm through the first few days. So I think it could probably handle a fair bit of rain anyway. And then I was keen to pick your brain about the other of Tiakau's contenders in the race, because I know you've had the opportunity to sit on Irish Red and Imperatrice as a horse that you've been able to watch closely. Who do you see as your main threat, and what have you made of the lead-ups of those other Tiakau horses? Yeah, well, I've ridden Irish Red in her track work, her last few gallops, and she's flying, actually. She's going really, really well. And Ballon Rouge, I worked her the other morning. She seemed to work very, very nicely. Imperatrice is a very classy horse, but she's got a terrible barrier draw, and I think she's going to need a lot of luck from there to see out the 1,600 metres. If you had to single one out outside of the Perfect Pink, who's obviously your pick, who would you be thinking is the next best Tiakau contender? I'd go for Ballon Rouge. She's got a good barrier draw, and she'll just be camped in behind them, and I think she'll run a cheeky race. Well, thanks so much for your time, Opie. If you had to single one out as your best winning chance on Saturday, who do you think it'll be? Oh, the Perfect Pink for sure.
Oh, I love it. Another Group 1. I don't mind that. So thanks so much for your time. And a big thank you to all of our guests on the form this morning. You can catch Bevan Sweeney and Aidan Rodley as part of that New Zealand Cup Week coverage this afternoon. Next week, the form's going to be taking a little bit of a break. We won't be back with you until Friday, where we count down to Counties Cup Day. There'll be 4 stakes races on that card, now run at Te Rapa, obviously with the COVID restrictions. Until then, happy punting. We'll see you next week.